It's a strange thing about life. The very thing we run from is the thing designed to build us. Discomfort, discipline, challenge. Most people tiptoe through life hoping to land safely in comfort, but comfort never made anyone unstoppable. In fact, it steals your strength quietly. You see, the human spirit doesn't grow in ease, it grows in resistance. And if you wish to become someone the world cannot break, then you must first stop breaking your own promises when no one is looking. That's where it starts, not in the spotlight, but in the silence. You don't become unstoppable by wishing. You become unstoppable by doing what is hard, especially when you don't feel like it. Because it is in those moments of discomfort that your future is being negotiated, not out there in the world, but in here, in your mind. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Everyone wants a better life, more freedom, more fulfillment, more income. That part's easy, but wanting something doesn't bring it any closer. What brings it closer is what you're willing to endure for it. It's what you do when it's no longer exciting, when the emotion fades and all that's left is the decision. Most people don't fail because they lack desire. They fail because they never cross that bridge. They stand at the edge, dreaming, hoping, even talking big, but only a few lace up their boots and start walking. Years ago, I wanted wealth. I wanted to travel, to provide, to give, but I kept thinking it would come with time. I didn't realize time is indifferent. Time only rewards what you put into it. So I had to make a choice. Stay on the side of wishing, or build the bridge of discipline, brick by brick, day by day. I remember one winter, I had $3 in my pocket and bills on my table. I could have blamed the economy, blamed my boss, blamed my upbringing, but I learned early you can't change your life by changing your complaints. You change it by changing your habits. The philosopher Heraclitus once said, "Character is destiny," and I believe that. Because discipline isn't about the action, it's about the identity. You don't just wake up successful. You become the kind of person who does the hard thing even when no one's watching. The kind who reads when others sleep, who saves when others spend, who rises when others rest. And slowly, brick by brick, that discipline carves a new path. The late nights of effort become the early fruits of freedom. The rejections become redirection. And you realize destiny isn't a matter of fate. It's a matter of follow-through. You do the work. You show up when it's raining, when it's dull, when it's quiet. That's where the treasure is hidden. Not in the noise, but in the repetition. So if you've got a dream, stop waiting for the bridge to appear. Build it, one disciplined day at a time. One of the great contradictions of life is this: the more you avoid the hard path today, the harder your future becomes. And the more you lean into difficulty now, the easier your future begins to unfold. An easy life now often leads to a heavy one later. A hard life now, chosen with purpose, leads to a life of lightness and freedom. That's the strange law of the harvest. You can't plant comfort and reap greatness. I remember in my early years, I used to envy those who took it easy. Sleep in, coast at work, spend what they didn't have. It looked relaxing. But a few years down the line, the bill came due. and it always does. You can delay discomfort, but you can't avoid it. One man sweats in the gym and walks pain-free in his 50s. Another avoids the pain today and pays for it with his health tomorrow. The question isn't whether you'll suffer, it's whether you'll suffer with purpose or suffer with regret. There was a time I had to make that choice myself. Work a little harder or coast like everyone else. Read the books, take the notes, make the phone calls, or just do enough to get by. I chose the hard way not because I liked it, but because I believed in what was waiting for me on the other side. And I'll tell you this, hard choices make easy lives. Easy choices make hard lives. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that life is short, but that we waste much of it." And I found that most of what we call ease is actually just delay. Delaying discipline, delaying change, delaying the pain that eventually comes to collect interest. So every day, I made it a point to pick the challenge, not to suffer for suffering's sake, but to prepare. Because life will throw something at you. And when it does, the man who trained hard is ready. The man who chose ease is shocked, caught off guard, overwhelmed. If you want an easier future, stop seeking an easier now. Invest in discomfort while you still have the strength to choose it. There's a quiet danger in negotiating with your limitations. It starts small, an excuse here, a compromise there, but before long, those little concessions become a life lived beneath your potential. You see, your limitations are not just physical or financial. They're often the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you can't do. And when you start bargaining with those stories, you give away your power without even realizing it. I've known many men and women who settled too early, who thought their circumstances were permanent, who allowed fear and doubt to set the boundaries of their dreams. But I also met those rare few who refused to accept those invisible shackles. They chose to confront their limits head on, not because they didn't have limits, but because they refused to let those limits define them. They understood that your mind is the battlefield where the war for your future is won or lost. Aristotle said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." To truly know yourself is to recognize your weaknesses but never be ruled by them. It's to refuse to let yesterday's failures or today's fears dictate tomorrow's possibilities. I remember times when my own doubts whispered loudly, "You're not ready. This is too much. You don't have what it takes." But I learned to listen to those whispers without answering them. I learned to keep moving, even when the mind wanted to stop negotiating and start settling. Think of the great oak tree. It doesn't grow by bending to the wind, but by standing firm, even when the storm threatens. Your potential is no different. When you refuse to bargain with your limitations, you build a new foundation, a foundation of resilience and resolve that can support the weight of any dream. So, don't make deals with your doubts. Don't draft contracts with your fears. Those are the very things that will keep you from becoming unstoppable. Instead, set your standards high and meet them daily, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because the only true way to break free is to refuse to be confined. When I say growth lives on the other side of resistance, I mean that real progress never happens inside your comfort zone. The moment you meet a challenge, when the path becomes steep and the effort feels heavy, that's when you're stepping into growth. Resistance is the silent teacher, the unseen sculptor, shaping your character. Without it, you remain the same person, stuck in the same patterns, living a life half-lived. I recall my early days, facing rejection after rejection, doors closing, opportunities slipping away. It was tempting to turn back, to seek easier roads. But something inside me refused to settle. I knew that every no, every obstacle was a lesson, disguised as hardship. Thomas Edison, a man who knew resistance well, once said, "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." Building systems that embrace hard things means designing your daily life so that challenge and discipline aren't surprises, they're expected parts of your routine. Too often, people wait for motivation or external pressure to push them into action. But the truly unstoppable don't leave their success to chance or mood. They create structures that make doing what's hard automatic, not optional. Think about it like this. A farmer doesn't wait for perfect weather to plant seeds. He builds irrigation systems, prepares the soil, and sets a schedule that accounts for hard days and setbacks. Success comes from reliable systems, not random bursts of effort. In my own life, I learned early that willpower alone won't carry you through the long haul. You have to build habits and routines, morning rituals, work disciplines, focused learning times that make facing resistance a built-in part of your day. When discomfort and challenge are scheduled, they lose their power to surprise or intimidate you. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When your systems don't avoid hardship but incorporate it, you turn obstacles into stepping stones. You train your mind and body to expect resistance so it becomes fuel, not fear. So don't just wait for hard moments to come to you. Build your life like a well-oiled machine that runs on purpose, discipline, and challenge. Because that's how you stay unstoppable through any storm. Now, as you stand at the crossroads of comfort and challenge, remember this. The path that is hard is the path that leads to becoming unstoppable. Life will never hand you greatness on a silver platter. It demands effort, sacrifice, and relentless commitment. You will face moments when quitting seems easier, when your mind screams for rest, when the world around you offers distractions and excuses. But it is in those very moments, the moments of resistance, that your future is decided. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers right now. What you must do is show up. Choose the hard thing when the easy one calls your name. Do the work when motivation fades. Build the discipline that no circumstance can shake. Because when you do, you're not just chasing success, you're crafting an identity, a life, a legacy that no challenge can undo. So I challenge you today, stop negotiating with your limits. Step into the discomfort with intention. Make the hard choice your daily habit. Train yourself to be relentless, unshakable, unstoppable. When you commit to doing what is hard, you unlock a power inside that no one can take from you. That power will carry you through every storm and into the life you were meant to live. The time is now. The choice is yours. Become unstoppable.